Continuing with the teaching of the clearing process. Hopefully you saw the introduction where I explained about this 6-step self-therapy that is utterly life-changing and much quicker and I think more effective than going through long-term therapy. So let me tell you about it. This is called Find the Feelings, and your homework from the last video was to take a look at what's going on in your life and find some situation, something that's happened recently that really, really made you uncomfortable. Dare I say angry or really, really sad or had some significant effect on you and that you have experienced before, but you feel helpless to change. So if you didn't do that, please pause the video right now and take a few minutes and just look inside and remember something that has happened recently. Okay, so let's go ahead. So remember the situation that you chose. I mean, it could be a relationship issue or something at work or something going on with a friend or a challenge with money. I'll give you one that happened to me. You know, even after 30 years, I'm still having to use clearing, and I have to admit, I forget about it. Sometimes I find myself upset about something and starting to do all the things I don't want to do, like figure out what I did wrong, for example. And then I remember, oh, geez, I guess I better do clearing. So I'll tell you the most recent one for me. It was a few months ago. I was at a bluegrass festival. I played bluegrass fiddle. I have for years. And I sat down with a group of people that I know to play music in the evening, like we always do at the festivals. And I got to tell you, I felt so uncomfortable. There were several really good musicians there, people I know really, but they're so much better than me. And I guess maybe because I wasn't on my home turf or something, I just felt so uncomfortable and kind of not enjoying myself and like I was doing a really bad job playing, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. So it kind of colored the whole rest of the festival for me, I have to say, because I kind of sat in those feelings. And it was only about a week later, still kind of feeling the sting of it, that I realized, oh, for Pete's sakes, I need to do a clearing process. So I'll use mine to give you an example, because what we're going to do now is we're going to look at your situation that you chose in your life, and we're going to look at it deeply and closely and find the feelings. I know this is something that you're probably not accustomed to doing, but the payoff is huge. So I'm going to encourage you to do it anyway. What came up for me after I sat with it, what you need to do is you need to really imagine the whole situation again. Put yourself back there with the same people. Remember the place you were at. Remember the time of day it was. Make it vivid in your mind, because I want you to sink back, just sink right back into feeling how you felt then, or maybe shortly afterward when the situation was over. So go ahead and take a look at exactly what happened like this. So here I was sitting in a group of about 10 people, and there were several tents around because we were camping, and we were all playing music, and I just remember feeling, well, embarrassed. Embarrassed was one of my feelings. I was embarrassed because, in my way of thinking, I've been playing a lot of years, and I should have done better. The other way I felt was alone. I felt like they kind of had a camaraderie that I didn't share in because I wasn't really up with things and I was being hesitant. And when I took my turn, I was kind of soft and quiet instead of bold, like I play when I'm around home. And the other thing I felt was anger. I was mad because I felt like they didn't really give me a chance. I don't think that was true, but that's how I felt. I was mad. I was angry. I was kind of felt like I was not given the right chance. So that's what I want you to do. I want you to take a look at your feelings, and instead of blaming somebody else, like I started to do, or instead of feeling like a victim, like, oh, this always happens, I don't know what to do about it, or instead of, here's the most typical, stuffing your feelings, or instead of just forgetting about it and just get on with your life and don't make it such a big deal, I want you to do what I just suggested. So I suggest that you stop the video now. Great advantage for videos, huh? and just take the time to sit with the situation you chose and write down 3 feelings. Well, I hope you took the time to go deep and to really look inside. We don't just take the first 3 feelings we find. And also, we don't just name the feelings. What we want to do is create a kind of a context for them, for each one of the feelings. So I'll use my example to show you what I mean by that, and then give you some time to do it. Like my first feeling was embarrassment. So I asked myself, what kind of embarrassment? Well, what came up was I was embarrassed that I was ashamed. I wasn't doing as well as I thought I should. So we take the feeling and then something that went with it, a that or a because. So I was embarrassed that I wasn't doing as well as I thought I should. The second feeling was alone. And so I have to say, what do I mean I felt alone? There were a lot of people around. So as I looked at it more closely, I was alone because nobody really seemed to be caring for me. I was alone because nobody was paying attention to me. The third feeling was anger at them for causing it. So I would say that my anger was kind of an anger. This doesn't have to make sense. Just be honest. Whatever comes up, be honest and be determined. So this doesn't make sense. But my anger was that they seemed to be leaving me out on purpose. I was angry about that. So be determined, be honest, and write down your feeling and the situation that seemed to be the cause of it. Got it? Before you go on to step 3, this is your assignment. But before I let you go, I want to tell you something to see this all in a much bigger context. You'll probably realize from having watched the introduction in step 1 that this is going to turn out to be something that's you've experienced in your life before. And so you might start to get into feeling helpless or discouraged or, heaven forbid, blaming yourself. Actually, what is going to become apparent, and what I have seen in the hundreds of clients I've worked with, and certainly in my own life, is that you're going to realize as we do this work together that none of this is accidental. The fact that that happened to me at the Bluegrass Festival, that was not accidental. And none of what you've been going through is your fault. You're being driven by unconscious energy held inside of you. And the most exciting and powerful and important part of all is that you're going to come to see the situation that you're using for this first ever clearing process you're doing. You're going to come to see that the situation is set up in your life, by life, I would say, as an invitation to you, and it's going to be a key to finding out what you've been struggling with your entire life, believe it or not. And this approach that we're using is going to enable you to stop resisting and to accept what's been happening and use the heck out of it. We're going to use it to discover the pressure that you've been under without realizing it, which has been generating things happening to you that you don't like and feel helpless about. So we're going to be moving into the next step. Do a good job on this one. Take your time with it, because this is kind of a pattern that we're going to be using to move on from here as we go into looking at your life in a broader way. So go for it. The payoff is phenomenal. We're talking about using a very narrow, specific approach to make a huge, wide change in how you live and what life brings to you.